If you have your Bible, go with me to Nehemiah chapter 2. Nehemiah chapter 2. And we are beginning the first series of the year is actually entitled Rebuilding the Ruins. That's the theme that the Lord has given us for the year, rebuilding the ruins. And so this first message of the first Sunday in the new year will come from Nehemiah chapter 2, beginning at verse 1, and we'll read down to verse 8. And we have it say, I have the word. Sister Adrian, I'm speaking and reading from the English Standard Version of the Bible, the English Standard Version. I heard you back there, Dalen. The English Standard Version of the Bible, and it reads on this wise. Listen, don't have to read word for word. We're gonna end up in just about the same space, just a different way of saying it. It reads on this wise: in the month of Nisan, in the 20th year of King Artaxerxes, when wine was before him, this is Nehemiah speaking, I took up the wine and gave it to the king. Now I had not been sad in his presence. And the king said to me, why is your face sad, seeing you are not sick? This is nothing but sadness of the heart. Then I was very much afraid. I said to the king, let the king live forever. Why should not my face be sad when the city, the place of my father's graves, lies in ruins? Its gates have been destroyed by fire. Then the king said to me, what are you requesting? So I prayed to the God of heaven, and I said to the king, if it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor in your sight, that you send me to Judah, to the city of my father's graves, that I may rebuild it. And the king said to me, the queen sitting beside him, how long will you be gone? When will you turn? So it pleased the king to send me when I had given him a time. And I said to the king, if it pleases the king, let letters be given to me, to the governors of the province beyond the river, that they may let me pass through until I come to Judah. And a letter to Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he may give me timber to make beams for the gates of the fortress of the temple, and for the wall of the city, and for the house that I shall occupy. And the king granted me what I asked, for the good hand of my God was upon me. If I could, just for the next few minutes of our time together, I want to talk to us this morning from the thought, when sight demands a step. When sight demands a step. Sometimes you can walk into rooms, and when you walk into a room, you can sense and see things that need repair. You can walk into a room and sense things that need repair. You can walk into a room of a couple that seems to be the fairy tale marriage, and then when you walk into the room, you can see the tension in the air and see that something needs to be repaired. You can walk into a room, Brother Alfred, and see that look around the room and the architecture and see water spots and see that it needs to be repaired. You can sometimes walk in churches that seem to be bursting at the seams, but you can see that there is something in the people or something in that particular church that needs to be repaired. Sometimes you wake up in the morning, Brother Terry, and you see in your own soul that there's something that's been taken away from me and needs to be repaired. You're trying to say, Elder Walton, sight will oftentimes show you what is wrong, but sight never tells you what to do next. It's one thing, Sister Cynthia, to be able to see and sense something that needs be repaired, but it's another thing to know what to do to repair what you sense need be repaired. Most of us, Sister Pearson, get stuck at that point. I sense the repair. I can see something needs to be repaired, but I don't know how to repair it. And when we get to that point, Lady Walton, oftentimes it gets us stuck. Yes, sir. We get paralyzed. And the reason we get paralyzed is not because you don't care. It's not because you're not praying. It's not because you don't see it, but it's because you don't know what to do when an opportunity for repair shows up in your life. Because here's the thing, we got convictions, we got burdens, we got prayers, we've got all of these things happening, but sometimes God will allow moments to come that puts an open door in front of you. Maybe it's a conversation, maybe it's a call, maybe it's a chance, maybe it's a window. And if you are not careful when that opportunity presents itself, you won't know what to do with it. And then it then becomes no longer about what you see, but it then becomes about what you failed to be able to step into. Sometimes I've learned that broken hearts can lead to chance encounters, and those chance encounters can turn into God opportunities. I'm sitting here in a pulpit because of a broken heart that led to a chance encounter, that led to a God opportunity. Come on, talk back to me. I'm standing here because a broken heart led me to a chance opportunity. Good God Almighty. And God was in the background maneuvering that thing and doing what he does best. And so what I'm trying to tell you is that when Nehemiah shows up in the court of Artaxerxes, that he did not just wake up looking for a meeting with the king. That Nehemiah walks into the court just doing his job. Yes, sir. And the king sees the sadness in his countenance. Yes. Now the king has to see the sadness because he was the cupbearer. And if the cupbearer has a sad face, that may mean somebody about to die. And the king is always going to protect his interests. So he's going to kill you before you kill him. So he begins to ask Nehemiah a question. And it seems like it's an ordinary moment, but this ordinary moment opens up a door. Here's the tension. God oftentimes opens doors in the ordinary moments. But open doors still require moving feet. Let me say that again. Open doors still require moving feet. So today, what we want to answer from the text is when God opportunities present themselves, how do you move from the burden to the blueprint? Let me say it again. When God opportunities present themselves, how do I move from just having a burden to actually getting a blueprint? And I believe Nehemiah is going to show us how that happens. But of course, y'all know that before we can get the answers from the text, we got to search around the terrain of the text. And when you search around the terrain of the text, Nehemiah 1 gives us the backstory. He was talking to a homeboy from the hood, from the old hood Jerusalem. Nehemiah runs into him in a chance encounter, and as they are talking, he asks and inquires about the old neighborhood, the old city, and he says, "How is it going?" And his homeboy tells him, "It ain't going well. It ain't going well at all. As a matter of fact, it's so bad that the remnant there in the province who has survived the exile are in great trouble, and the city is in shambles." And when Nehemiah hears this, Nehemiah is taken aback. He's weeping. He's crying. He's not in a good space because the hood is now headed for disrepair. It is ugly. It is ugly. And so in response to the report, he weeps. He cries over the old hood. He cries over the old city. Not only does he cry, but his crying led him to fasting and praying, not just for a few days, not just for a few weeks, but for months. Why? Why did he need to fast and cry and pray, Elder Walton? I'm glad you asked. The reason he needs to fast and pray and cry is because the city that was once his home was not just a city in the mind of the king. The city that was his home is the former capital, or former rebel capital. Now, any of you like Star Wars, you hear that word, the rebel forces, and you understand what's happening. These people, these Jewish people have rebelled against King Artaxerxes, and as a result of them rebelling against King Artaxerxes, he has shut down rebuilding efforts there. Because Persian policy says, I'm not going to allow you to rebuild so that you can overthrow me. So here it is, Nehemiah, when he's asking this question, Nehemiah is not asking to fix potholes. That there is politics at play in Nehemiah's request. He is actually asking to reverse imperial policy. He's asking to rebuild a fortified city that has proven in the past that they will rebel at a moment's notice. Yeah. Not only is he asking for that, he's asking for royal authority to travel into a politically volatile region. Now, from the king's perspective, it smells like nationalism. It smells like you're trying to rebel against me. But Nehemiah's perspective says this is covenant faithfulness. I got to be faithful to the city that raised me. I got to be faithful to the God that has kept me. And the way I'm faithful to the God that's kept me is I got to keep the city that the God that has kept me told me to keep. Good God Almighty. And so here it is. He's in the court and having this experience. And that wrong facial expression should have meant certain death. But what it means is that God is opening a door. Because don't you find it interesting that instead of taking him by the throat and executing him on the spot, Brother Terry, the king asks a question of a servant. Come on, let's run this back. Let's think critically real quick. The kings in those days were rather ruthless. They were very ruthless, and so if there was any threat to their empire, your life was on the line. This king sees Nehemiah's countenance, and he doesn't kill him. Do you see the grace and mercy that is on the life of Nehemiah? He doesn't kill him, but it goes even further. He asks him, what's wrong? Come on, y'all, come with me. He asks him, what's wrong? Because one wrong facial expression should have costed Nehemiah his job. And what I mean by costing him his job, it should have costed him his life. So Nehemiah isn't being brave. Nehemiah is actually being obedient even under pressure. And he answers question. But as he's answering the question, he's got to make sure that he frames it in the right way. Can I press pause? Some of us get no's because we don't frame things in the right way. Some of the rejection that many of us have experienced maybe in the past might have been because we frame it in the right way. So Nehemiah doesn't just pop off at the lips. Watch how he frames it. When he's talking about going back into rebuild, he doesn't frame it. He doesn't frame it in a way that's going to be off-putting to the king. He needs to frame it personally. He needs to frame it emotionally, and he needs to frame it historically, which is why he says, "My ancestors' graves lie in ruins." The boy was thinking. He's thinking. He's prompted by the Lord. He's been prompted by the Lord to think this through, and the Lord is giving him strategy in and on the fly. My ancestors' graves lie in ruins. This moves the issue from politics to humanity. And Artaxerxes was a king, it seems, that had empathy going on for himself. Unlike, never mind, I ain't even go there. And so he's moving things from threat to legacy. Because the sight has shown him, his sight has shown him what's broken. But now there's a step required. Because a door has now opened. And we do not need to moonwalk back when doors have opened for us to offload the burden. Yeah. So let me reframe and ask again our relevant question. What do you do when you want to move from burden to blueprint? Nehemiah tells us the first thing that we want to do and need to do if we're going to move from burden to blueprint is we got to name what's broken without blaming who's present. We got to name what's broken without blaming who's present. That's in verses 1 through 3. Will you follow along with me real quick? It says this. In the month of Nisan, in the 20th year of Artaxerxes, when wine was before him, I took up wine and gave it to the king. Now I had not been sad in his presence. And the king said to me, "Why is your face sad, seeing you are not sick? This is nothing but sadness of the heart." Then I was very much afraid. I said to the king, listen to it, "Let the king live forever. Why should my face be sad when the city, the place of my father's graves, lies in ruins and his gates have been destroyed by fire?" Yes, now, Artaxerxes did this. I need you to see this. He did it, but the way that Nehemiah frames it is I'm going to talk about the problem that I see and not the person who caused the problem. See, we can learn something about diplomacy in terms of Nehemiah because here's what happens. He names the ruins. He names the grief, but he does not accuse the person in the room that caused it. Because here's where we pick up. Here's what we pick up. This principle. Rebuilding does not begin with blame. Let's run that back. Let me say it again. Rebuilding does not begin with blame. It begins with honesty. Because, listen, you can tell the truth without burning bridges. Let me say that again. People in the back, you can tell the truth without burning bridges. You can grieve what's broken without shaming who stayed. You can grieve what's broken without shaming who left. We've created very toxic church environments because a lot of times we have done things backwards. I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. A lot of times in the church we have done things backwards. We would shame the people who left. We talk about them as if they are not the children of the king. And we shame the people who left in front of the people who stayed. And the reason we shame the people who left in front of the people who stayed, because we wanted to make it a cautionary tale and scare you into staying. But here's the thing. Help me hold it through here. Here's the thing. They would never hire people to begin with. If they left, hear me real clear, maybe they needed to leave for a season. Maybe they needed to leave for a season so we could get ourselves together. Maybe they needed to leave for a season so they can get themselves together. There are no villains. Let me say it again. There are no villains. We might not have liked the way they left, but maybe they had to leave. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hoop this one today. Cause we gotta do better about seeing our parts in the rebuilding process. We can't turn people's exits into punchlines. We can't use people as warning labels. We gotta move away from preaching their absence like a proof of our loyalty. And notice, Nehemiah doesn't do anything. He doesn't weaponize the pain. Because notice, he's in pain. He is in so much pain that he cannot hide it. He doesn't recruit the grief to shame anybody. He simply names what is broken. He simply talks about what he's talking about. You want me to act like, zippity doo dah zippity, hey, oh my, what a wonderful day. But it's not wonderful. Because I've been living in and sitting in the notion that place that I grew up in is being raised and has been raised to the ground. That don't sit well with me, King. And I'm going to taste you a little wine, make sure they don't kill you. But right now, my hometown being in disarray is killing me. It's a burden for me. I'm gonna carry your burden, but understand I got a personal burden. And I want you to see something. He names what broken, and he honors what matters. It doesn't matter that Artaxerxes was cause of it. What matters is the reality of it, which opens the door for rebuilding. Some visions never get traction because they're wrapped in accusation. Sometimes we never get anything done because we're too busy blaming folk. We gotta create a villain. Sometimes we act more like President Trump than we realize. Because I want you to notice something about this administration. I said I wasn't going to go here, but I'm going to go here. Let me give you the playbook. The administration creates enemies and never deals with the issue. Come on. I want you to see this. The administration creates enemies but never deals with the issue. And many times in churches, we've created enemies so we wouldn't have to deal with the issue. And so what I'm calling St. Mark to is, let's deal with the issues and realize we're not enemies. Let me run that back. Maybe you missed it. Let's deal with the issues and realize we're not each other's enemies. We need the vision that God has for this house to gain traction. And the only way that it can gain traction is we must see each other as assets and not liabilities. Right. Nehemiah shows us that honesty opens doors when blame shuts them tight. Again, sight shows you what's wrong. Sight never tells you what to do next. Here's the second thing. That if we are going to turn burdens into blueprints, Brother Hector, here's the second thing we got to do. We gotta turn prayer into a plan. Okay. That's the second thing that I see in the text, that we're going to have to turn prayer into a plan. Look at verses 4 through 7. 4 through 7, because he's in a tight spot. He's already said it. He said, I'm in a tight spot. Then the king said to me, verse 4, what are you requesting? So I prayed to the God of heaven. Now notice something. Nehemiah is in conversation but praying. He's in conversation with the king, but he's also in conversation with the king. Right? He's in conversation with the king, which tells me that Nehemiah has been practicing prayer as a discipline in such a way that he can get quick answers because he's learned how to open himself up to the voice of the king. Watch what happens. Then the king said to me, what are you requesting? So I prayed to the God of heaven, and I said to the king, if it pleases the king. Now, immediately between verse 5, verse 4 and verse 5, God speaks. Which says to me that when you're open, it will take God long to get strategy to your ears. When you're open, it doesn't take God long to get strategy to your ears. Watch what happens. And I said to the king, if it pleases the king, and a servant has found favor in your sight, that you send me to Judah, the city of praise, to the city of my father's graves, that I rebuild it. And the king said to me, the queen sitting beside him, how long will you be gone? And when will you return? Wait. He don't say no. He says what you need. He turns prayer into a plan. Watch what happens. He says, verse 6, verse 7. And I said to the king, it pleases the king, let letters, this is what he needs. Give me some letters to the governors. Let me make things easy for me to pass. Let's not make this political. Open up the doors I need and give me the resources I need to do what I need to do. Yeah. In other words, he's not panicking while he's praying because he's been practicing praying. Months of prayer has now produced clarity. What does he do? He asks for time, he asks for authority, and he asks for resources. Here's what I want to say. Prayer is not the replacement for planning. Just because we're led by the Holy Ghost don't mean that we don't need to plan. Everything can't always be spontaneous. We got our processes and procedures and plans that have been bathed in prayer, watch this, and have been given by God to fulfill the vision. He does not replace prayer, or he does not replace planning with prayer. Prayer becomes the fuel behind it. Here's the comfortable truth. Some of us keep praying because planning would force us to risk rejection. Some of us keep praying, because when people ask, well, what about the book you was going to write? Oh, I'm still praying about it. What about the business God gave you to open? Oh, I'm still praying about it. Why? Because I'm afraid to fail. But I'm getting a plan from the God who's got all knowledge. How can I fail? I can be uncomfortable because there are some things, watch this, we talked about this morning in Sunday school. There are some things that will be revealed along the journey, but failure is not an option. Some things that we call failure are really discoveries. Lord have mercy. Take penicillin, right? Y'all know penicillin was a happy mistake. They didn't know that it would fight disease. But somebody saw it and say, ugh, this is nasty, but maybe it can do something for me. See, failing is nasty, but sometimes failing is doing something for you. And so And so some of us, we keep praying, Lord, give me a plan. He said, I've been giving you the plan. You see that video that came across TikTok the other day of how to do such. Just scroll past it because you want to see the latest TikTok dance. You see that commercial that came on TV because some of y'all social media. You see that commercial that came on TV. Lord, I've been praying about getting out of debt. You see that commercial that came on TV that can help you to get out of debt, get you some free resources. You kept pushing the up button to go to the next channel. Why? Because we don't oftentimes open ourselves up because we don't want to risk the rejection of failure. Yeah, we keep postponing conversations. You keep. Let me talk about me as being. It's kind of hard talking about you. When the Lord first was dealing with me to preach, I was in high school, right? And I kept making excuses. Lord, I can't preach because I ain't perfect. Can't be honest, can't be said. Lord, I can't preach because I still got some stuff I want to do. Lord, I can't preach because people be looking at you. I don't want all that. And I had to discover that preaching and the call of God on my life was going to be a lifelong journey. You don't just show up ready in anything. There's some things you got to learn. So I want you to pray and plan. This year, we're going to pray and plan. It's not either or. We're going to do both of them. Somebody say both of them. Do it again. Both of them. Yeah. We got to stop dressing up delay as devotion. Sounds spiritual, but that ain't what God calling you to do. He said, you could have been playing this. You don't want to step. But sometimes your sight demands that you step. The sight's going to show you the ruins. Prayer's going to sharpen the vision, but the planning turns vision into movement. Touch somebody and say, we got to move. We got to move. So if we're going to turn the burden if we're going to move from burden, y'all forgive me, I'm trying to rush through this, move from burden to blueprint. We got to name what's broken without blaming who's present. We got to turn prayer into a plan. And then finally, we got to move fearlessly forward in God's favor. Because it makes no sense to have a plan, but you never implement it. I suffer from what I call perfection paralysis. You know what that is? I got to make sure I got all the answers before I pull the trigger. Now, if you think about that in terms of self-defense, if I'm sitting there and somebody coming at me, shooting at me, and I'm saying, well, if I shoot and they die and then I might go to jail, bam, you gone. But if I can execute and adjust on fly, I'm preaching to me too, y'all. Don't feel bad. I'm preaching to all of us because this year, after God has knitted our hearts, now He's about to move us forward. And it starts with the leader. It starts with the leader. And so sometimes, y'all, I'm going to unveil imperfect plans to the church. And oh, God, I thank you. And when I unveil it, you're going to put your piece to it. Because you might be an answer to a question that left me paralyzed. Because it wasn't perfect. I saw this last year with Sister Jeannie. She that week of prayer, that wasn't Pastor Walton. That was Sister Jeannie. I want to empower you to help us. Let me say it again, because I ain't got all the answers. That's what Kanye said to old boy. He said, Sway, you ain't got all the answers. I'm going to go on record. I don't have all the answers. Some of my answers going to come through you. But you can't be scared to speak. Watch this. I'm getting ready to go. Verse 8, the king grants the request. I got to fast forward. Letters are written, provision is released, and Nehemiah is clear about his why. Why? The gracious hand of my God was upon me. It wasn't me, but it was because his hand is on me. Yeah. He don't credit his tone. He don't credit his strategy. He credits the God who gave it to him. Listen, everything that we've got to do this year ain't going to be easy. And we don't move forward because it's going to be easy. We move forward because God's hands on it. Favor, I want you to hear this, does not remove fear. Sometimes you just got to do it scared. It gives you courage in spite of. God's hand has been discouraged or it's discovered after the step is taken. Y'all remember the lepers, it says as they went were cleansed. If they don't take the step, I'm just asking a question, do they ever experience cleaning or cleansing? I think it was Michael Jordan says, somebody said it, you miss all of the shots that you refuse to take, that you refuse to shoot. This year, we're going to have to shoot our shot. It might not go in. It's okay. We'll readjust, re-aim, and rebuild. Here it is. Getting ready to go to my seat. Here's the takeaway. Here's our takeaways. We've got to stop spiritualizing delay. God in this season asking for movement. Got to stop spiritualizing it. If you've been praying but refusing plan, you're stuck between burden and blueprint. Tell the truth about it and get to doing something about it. Here's the second takeaway. We got to tell the truth about what's broken without weaponizing the blame. If that glass door is not cracked, I was using it as an example. If that glass back there on the double doors back there is cracked, let's fix it first and then talk about how I got that. Right? Because again, sometimes we like to weaponize the blame. What I'm trying to tell you is rebuilders speak honestly and move humbly. What is humble? Humble is not, I'm so, no. Humble is being all that God has created you to be, nothing more and nothing less. Humble is showing up as your authentic self with what God has given you. What you bring to the table. Sister Sant, she brings a very diligent, understanding. I love that about. She wants to understand. I love the way her mind works. She wants to understand. She helps in helping me to understand because I'm usually like 30,000 foot view, but she'll give me my details. See why I need you? See why I need you? And so this year we're going to be implementing what we're calling training days. And one of our first training days, I want the whole church to come to, is a training day about identifying our spiritual gifts. We're going to do a training on what spiritual gifts are, and then we're going to take an assessment and identify our spiritual gifts. Why, Elder? So I know where you fit. I I need a missions person on the inside of the church. I need mission people doing mission stuff. I don't need musicians trying to be mechanics. I need musicians being musicians. I don't need ushers trying to be singers. I need singers to be singers and ushers to be ushers. We got to put the right people in the right places. Right feet, right seat. But the only way we can find out where your feet belong is we got to know what you bring. Getting ready to go. I'm closing. So here it is. Here's my next takeaway. Let prayer produce clarity, not confusion. Let prayer produce clarity, not confusion. Because if God is in it, you should be able to name the next step. Here's my last thing. Not the last, second to the last. Do not wait for confidence to come before obedience. Another way to say that is, do it scared. Do it imperfect. But like Nike said, just do it. Because confidence often shows up after movement. Confidence shows up after movement. So here's a call to action. You can play on something, Sister Jeannie, getting ready to migrate into communion. But this week, I want to challenge you to do three things. Name the burden. Stop pretending it does not hurt. And turn the burden into a blueprint. Whatever is bothering you, I want to bring this to corporate ministry now. Whatever it bothers you about the ministry, I don't want you to just name it. I want you to sit down and create a blueprint to solve the problem. I want you to take the step that fear's been arguing you out of. Send a message. Start the conversation. Come to me. We are building something great for God, but we're building it as a community, not as a personality. Did y'all hear what I just said? We're building something great as a community for God, not as a personality. We're not going to be pastor focused. We're going to do it as a people. Bring your authentic gift to the house. And let's rebuild. We got to begin the work, y'all. And we got to do it as a community. Go test it, run it out loud. Let the room talk back to us so that we can build what God is calling for us. My job is to lead us, but our job is to work together to produce what God is calling